CJ Miller. I'm in my kitchen in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And uh, I'm in my kitchen in my apartment, and this is part 4 of the video of the bread, which is a quick bread that I topped with almonds, made just random little shapes. Uh, I didn't want it to look entirely formulary, this design. Uh, I didn't want it to look like, what I should have done was maybe should have cut a couple of slices in the bread before it went into the oven. And what I did actually was waited until it formed kind of a crust, and then I cut into the crust, and then some of the filling in the chocolate rose to the top. But it would have been better, honestly, had I done a different, like maybe started and split it. Maybe did a diamond formation or something like that. Did another formation, and that way it would allow me to split the top of the bread, and then I actually would get more of a rise. Provided what I would do was maybe put this upper layer, uh, more of a breading, instead of a. But overall, this is successful. Now, I would normally do a tasting video, but this is for me to have with my family tomorrow. Coffee, tea, while we're getting ready to go to the concert. And as you can see, and I lined it with foil, and I did oil the foil. uh, and then put some flouring in it, and that did help. And I would hate to think of how badly this would have stuck had I not done that. Even at the top, where it rose at the top, I lost a little bit of crust as I pulled the foil. Now, this has to cool completely before it can be served, which is going to be fine because I'm going to let it sit here and cool off completely, and then I'm going to cover it in saran wrapping, and then we will have it tomorrow uh, before we go to the concert. But I can tell you, I mean, in the other video when I showed how much chocolate I put in that one layer, that was one layer of chocolate. Underneath that layer is more breading, and beneath that breading is an even thicker layer of chocolate chip. How good. How good it is. Okay, Guten Himmel is what people will be saying when they cut into this bread. Am I German? Am I Irish? Scottish? Oh, oh, damn it. Oh, I'm a schizophrenic, not a doctor. Okay, so anyway, no, I did promise that I really could have waited to do this bread tomorrow, but I have a doctor's appointment early in the morning, uh, and you should be happy to know they are going to give me the proper medication which I need. And then, you know, go to the doctor because I am not a doctor. So anyway, they're gonna take care of that, and then, but it's my first time going to an internal medicine clinic. It's just a routine. But then I'll come back home and I'll spend some time. But if I had went to the appointment and then came home and baked the bread, it would still be hot before, because bread takes a long time to cool off internally. And it's literally still, there are parts of it in the deepest recesses of this bread, especially since the chips melted and became moist. There are parts of the dough that are probably still cooking. So it's really best to let your bread completely cool off before you serve it, and you will not get a tummy ache. But that's why I didn't do it. That's why I decided to go ahead and do it tonight and not wait until tomorrow. But I'm not going to cut into this. I'm not going to cut into it. So there's not going to be a tasting video because I'm not going to pull out my camera and do the thing. Hey, what does it taste like, or whatever? Disastrous. Because what if it, I like whatever. Like, I like to do tasting videos and stuff like that of my food, but it's my first time doing this particular bread. I think it's going to be great. From the looks of it, everything has come out and it looks completely solid all the way through. uh, and yeah, so um, yeah. No tasting video, no cutting, no serving video, because unless I do something with my family's permission as we're walking out the door to the Alice Cooper concert or something like that. But for the most part, tomorrow's going to be about family. It's not going to be about me making a video for my YouTube channel. So this will serve as part 4 of a quick bread recipe. And this is just one idea. You do something like this, maybe you could throw a little bit of cinnamon uh, throughout your bread, a little brown sugar and cinnamon instead of chocolate. And then you can have a cinnamon swirl, you know. And I will say what I like about this treatment, because what I did was I really, really sweated out this bread. It's got a really good firm, you know, you could knock on that bread. You know, that's how great it is. Uh, and it's holding its shape well and everything. So that's good. Okay. And that's what maybe what's called sweating the dough, sweating the bread dough. What I do is I bake this at 350, and it baked 350. They suggested 30 minutes covered and the 15 minutes uncovered. I just cooked the whole thing uncovered. I don't really give a damn, you know. But what I did was I slowly sweated it. I put it into the oven. I know my oven, so you should know your oven for one thing. You know, if you're doing this in a strange oven, then you just, you know, you're going to have a hit or miss kind of thing. But I know my oven and how it performs. And so what I did was I basically put the oven in as it was preheating. And I know approximately how long it takes to preheat. And so I put the oven in as I turned on the preheating. And then so gradually that kind of sweated. That means you slowly cook your dough at a low temperature, not higher than 200, as you are bringing the oven up to temperature. And what it does is it creates a firmness, a really, really firm crust on the outside of the dough. Like I said, it would have been a little bit better if I had had a little bit of forethought and I didn't think about it. But these sliced designs into it, I could have easily have just done a really interesting design, and then to allow crosses, such as you would cut into a hot cross bun or something like that. You know, this bread would be great. No additional sugar other than the chocolate chip. So I can make this bread dough without sugar, and it's wonderful because I'm diabetic. I should say that I was diabetic type 2 a couple of years ago, and that began my healthier eating habits. And, I went to the doctor a few times, and within a course of I want to say maybe when they did that first testing, I was like 7.8 in my glucose, my A1C. 7.8 was my A1C, and I need to get it 6 or below. And so I got it down to 6 or below. Actually, and when I got it down to a 0.6, they were like, oh, and they did like a whole big old miniature case study on me. What do I feel about it? This and that. How do you know? And it's like, that's great. They took a picture, but it's like, and that was the doctor's office and everything. And it's like, all I could do was thank God for the information. But it really was a keto diet. I did a very strict keto diet, and I began a very physical routine, meaning that even when I'm home and there's nothing to do, I am always fidgeting. That's when I was a kid and you're nervous and you're fidgeting, something, everybody's like, quit fidgeting, you're making me nervous. Fuck them. Fidget. Don't disturb in the class or school or anything like that. But yeah, fidget, move, stay in motion. If you're in motion, you're burning calories. If you can't move at the back because you got a sore back, Move your arms, move your fingers, wiggle your toes, move something. Be in motion, some sort of motion, and in doing so, you're spending energy. And spend that constant spending of energy along with a healthier diet allows for days that I can have a treat like this guilt free. Love and light. I love you. Good night.